and welcome to PÖFF Studio. My name is Vivian Melder. Today in the studio we have the multi-award-winning Italian director Andrea Pallaoro with us. He is the director of Medeas, and here at the festival we can see his new film Hannah, which actually opened at the Venice Film Festival earlier this year. So your film Hannah is an investigation of kind of modern-day alienation viewed through the lens of Hannah struggling with the state of her life after her husband gets imprisoned. So thank you so much for being here. Buongiorno.
Thank you. Buongiorno. I'm very happy to be here.
So, seeing as there's so many films at this particular festival and many festivals, what would you say that makes your film relevant and special?
Wow, that's a difficult question. I don't know if I am the best person to answer that question because it's my film. So, but I should say that Charlotte Rampling's performance is one that to me is very riveting, very complex, very layered. One in which she commits to with such an unwavering sense of determination to find the truth of her character, and that really shines through. And also it's a film that explores the state of mind, the emotional and psychological state of mind of a woman in denial, and it does trying to commit to a very rigorous and coherent cinematic language.
Right. Wonderful. So you yourself reside in the US, but you decided to shoot this movie in Italy and Belgium, is that right?
That's correct.
Is there perhaps like a magic about Italy and Belgium that can't be replicated anywhere else?
Well, I think the film actually takes place exclusively in Brussels and in the suburbs of Brussels. We shot some scenes in Italy, some interior scenes, just for production reasons. But the film doesn't take place in Italy. That being said, I think that Brussels, for this particular story and this particular character exploration, was the ideal city because Brussels presents a very heightened sense of alienation to me. You know, like there are so many different languages being spoken there that creates a sense of somewhat disconnection, and like the color palette of the city, you know, the grayness that the city is imbued with is also made it like the perfect backdrop to explore this story.
Right. So this is your second feature film, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So how has the production been different from your debut? What kind of lessons have you learned, do you think?
With this particular film, I think that the relationship I had with this Charlotte Rampling was central, and I've learned so much from her. You know, she has, you know, everything she does, the way she commits to the role and to a film, is with so much generosity and so much courage. And the opportunity I had to get to know her and develop this character with her over the arc of like 2.5 years before we started production from the moment we met. That was a very extraordinary experience for me, you know, and that's something I want to replicate as much as I can in my next films.
Right. So this is a Baltic Film and Media School production, and for us as film students who want to become directors, to work with actors, is there any kind of lessons that you've learned from your work with Charlotte or work with any other actors that you'd like to tell us, pass on any advice?
Yes, I think actually I was thinking about this just a few weeks ago, and you know, and actually another very young director asked me the same question, and I think that, you know, the most valuable thing I can contribute to and the best advice I can give is for whoever starts out is not to, and this is something very tricky. It's something difficult that I struggle myself with, you know. But I think is not to let your choices and your explorations and your interests be affected by you know, what is in vogue at the moment, or what people say about you and about your work, because ultimately what makes the difference, what makes your work relevant and important, is how personal it is to you and how personal it can speak to the spectator, you know, how personally it can speak to the spectator.
Right, that's
So I actually, yeah, in a nutshell, I would say, you know, just look inside of yourself, you know, and as intimately as possible.
to see what speaks to you in terms of finding a story for a film.
Yeah, I think, you know, that if I were to listen to, you know, what different people say, or what, like, you know, like I would not be able to find or to commit to, you know, what is important to me, you know?
Right. So bringing the discussion a little bit more down to earth again in terms of production. So you are the writer of the film also, of Hannah. And speaking of this kind of authenticity and this kind of finding your inner voice, do you think that it's important for a writer to be also the director of the film?
I think it makes it for different experiences, but I don't think is essential or crucial. And actually, I myself welcome the opportunity one day to direct somebody else's screenplay or writing. You know, so I think collaboration is one of the most special and attractive things about this business, this industry, this way of working. So I think that it could be as exciting, you know, to bring somebody else's work to life.
Right. So because a lot of advice given to film school students is in school, find these people that you can collaborate with. But I'm really interested to know, how do you see yourself kind of in the side of the going to film school versus not going to film school debate?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, and a debate that I had with myself before I started to go to film school too. Like, you know, even 10 years ago, when I started film school, you know, that was still a very, very lively debate. You know, like what is the value of film school? You know, I think that, speaking about my experience, you know, like it gave me the opportunity to risk and make mistakes, and not worry too much about the consequences, you know. And even more importantly, what it allowed me to meet other passionate filmmakers with whom I could start both creative and professional relationships, you know. That being said, I don't think also like that the only way forward or to get into this business or to get to making movies is to go to film school. Absolutely not. Actually, I have friends that brilliant, incredible filmmakers, friends of mine that have not gone to film school, and they don't miss that experience.
Right. Well, that's all of my questions for you today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good to meet you too, and thank you for tuning in.